Hey, this is real football, right? This is real football. We're out here in pads today. But before we get to that, I just want to thank the medical professionals in-house and also Mass General as far as the care for Barmore. Obviously, it's an unfortunate thing, but for me, it's not even about football. When you talk about things like that, it's about the man, and he's getting tremendous care, and I'm anticipating him coming back.
Do you have any timetable whatsoever?
No timetable. No timetable. I think all these situations are different, and I'm not a specialist in that world, so I don't want to put a diagnosis or a timetable to come back. When he's ready to go, we'll be here waiting for him.
From a procedural perspective, what do you anticipate doing with him right now? Is he a IR guy?
Well, this is one of those things where, you just don't know the timetable. That's more of a question probably for Elliot, our head trainer. I should have brought him out here with me.
Jerod, how did his symptoms first manifest? What were the first steps of his care, as much as you could share?
It was, we have these case managers who are responsible for, a group of guys, and, they did a great job under Jim's leadership. Chris Dolan noticed something, and they investigated. So kudos to those guys.
Did that happen last week? We saw him out here a little bit limited, was just sort of feeling under the
I'm
weather.
not exactly sure when it happened. The whole timetable of how it happened, I'm really not sure. I have. I had a conversation with him. He's in good spirits, and like I said before, he's getting tremendous care, and his mom is up here too. So anytime mom's in the house, it's a good day.
Is he in the hospital?
Sorry, what's that?
Is he actually in the hospital currently, or?
No, he's not in the hospital right now.
Okay.
So.
You have a chance for a 25-year-old kid. He has no idea. He just wants to play football, right?
Yeah, he just wants to play football, but in understanding the seriousness of this, he needs to get healthy, and we'll be praying for him.
Did you or Christian talk to David Andrews, who's gone through this before?
So I remember when that whole thing happened. The same training staff for the most part that dealt with that are still here, and I have full confidence in those guys to help him out. I'm sure at some point in time, you got to remember this just happened not too long ago, so he's still trying to digest what's going on right now as well as his treatment plan.
Did you talk to the team about it today?
We did talk to the team. We talked to the team about it. A lot of those guys were concerned, but we wanted to wait until all the tests and things were run before we had that conversation.
Said credited Jim Whalen and said it could have been a lot worse without him. Can you just maybe offer more details on the difference that he made?
Yeah, Jim Whalen, he's a huge piece of the puzzle. I would also say he has a tremendous team behind him that they do the day-to-day things as well. So kudos to that whole entire staff.
Jerod, that position, like Armand Watts, Daniel Equali, who are you looking to now to possibly do some of those things?
Yeah, that's a great question. We'll see. Today's the first day in pads, and it's easy to say, this guy can do it, that guy can do it, but a guy like Barmore, as disruptive as he is, it's kind of hard to get that same production. But look, other guys have to step up. We treat it like a normal injury, even though it's not a normal injury, and next man up.
We saw Antonio Gibson back out yesterday. Is he now officially off NFI list?
He's back. Yeah, he's back. He's practicing, and it's a day-to-day thing with him on the field.
And the same with Terrell Jennings as well?
Yeah, same thing.
Noticed Christian Barmore, obviously not full position, but in his jersey down there, is he progressing the way you guys would like him to?
Sorry, you talking about Barmore?
I'm sorry, Kendrick Bourne.
Sorry, you confused me. No, myself. So Bourne's doing everything he can to get back on the field. When that is, I don't know. When he's ready to go, we'll put him out there.
We saw you guys rep a lot of kickoff work over the course of the spring. We haven't seen as much this summer so far. I imagine maybe some of that's going on behind the scenes, and if so, how is that working?
Yeah, it's definitely a lot going into that unit behind the scenes. I would also say the NFL is still, nailing down how they want to officiate that play. So we have to be flexible. It's a very fluid situation, and anytime a new memo comes out, we're gonna try something new. So we'll see where we land.
For the casual football fan, could you explain why your eyes light up, why these guys, their eyes light up when you say first full pad practice?
Yeah, most of us started playing as young kids, and we would take our helmets. How many marks do you have on your helmet and things like that? It kind of brings back those memories. These guys know once you put on the pads, and there's been a lot of going back and forth, making big plays, and you would always hear guys like sack, that's a sack, or that's this, or I would have did this to you, but now we're in pads. We'll see. It's an opportunity for all those little beefs to really get squashed out.
Jerod, you've talked a lot about how you want the best 5 offensive linemen out there. At what point do you want to determine who those 5 are? I know for the last couple of days we've seen the same group out there.
Yeah, honestly, I would say, that's why we have the preseason. And, hopefully going into the third preseason game, we have a good understanding of who those 5 will be.
City Sal has always been a part of that group of five that we've seen out there, even dating back to the spring. What did he do last year to prove that he should be a starter this season?
I think just look, we don't have starters right now on the offensive line. In saying that, City's done a tremendous job, hanging around here in the offseason, working out, and putting everything he has into the playbook. He did a great job in the spring, and hopefully it continues today in full pads.
Jerod, we've seen Javon Baker have some really good practices, especially yesterday with the one-on-ones. He had that 60-yard catch from Joe Milton the other day. What are you seeing from him in his development, and what is he bringing to the table right now?
Yeah, he's definitely a good player. I would say he has a lot to learn. Even that long pass yesterday, no one tagged him down. He threw the ball up in the air. So, just reminding guys that this isn't college. Like, this is the NFL. You're not being tagged down. That right there is a fumble. But those are the things that they'll learn through training camp, and hopefully doesn't do it during the season.
Just one more quick one on Christian Barmore. You mentioned how you might try to fill in at that position behind him. How does maybe not having a player like that impact the rest of the defense, though?
I mean, look, it's no secret, last year he was one of our best players defensively. In saying that, we have a lot of guys. I don't think just one person can embody all of the different things that Barmore did for us, but we do have guys that are hungry. We do have guys that can penetrate the offensive line, so I'm not too concerned about that. It's the next man.
Jerod, we've seen more from Brendan Schooler playing defense in this camp. Just what have you seen from him in that role?
I just think I thought it was important to not just have core special teams players only focused on special teams. Look, Schooler will be at the game, right? He's an all-pro type of special team player. Now, in saying that, there will be times where maybe we need to get out of a game because of injuries or whatever it is. Hopefully it's from blowing another team out and put him in there. But he needs to have a fundamental understanding of our defense.
How much?
1 second.
Sorry.
To answer your question, though, look, this guy can run and this guy can tackle and this guy is smart. And so you put those three things together, you got a pretty good defensive player.
Sorry about that.
No, that's my fault.
With the new kickoff rules, how much is a guy's returning ability going to factor into the 53?
I think that's definitely under consideration. I would also say, look, we're a game plan team offensively and defensively, and on special teams, specifically KOC and KOR, right? Because those are, like, sometimes you might just want to kick the ball at the back of the end zone and lean on the defense. And we're going to lean on our defense this year. And I would also say offensively, we're going to run the ball and try to control the game that way. So.
How would kicking competition look so far to this point? We've seen Joey and we've seen Chad out there.
Well, they both missed the first one yesterday. So as we continue to go on, look, that is a huge piece of the puzzle, to have a kicker that we can depend on. And those guys are out here competing just like at every other position.
Jerod, regarding Brendan, and players like him in the past who might have made the roster in great part, if not most part, because of their special teams ability, now defining whether a guy makes a team or not in that position, fringe of the roster guy, do you lean toward defense, offensive contributions, as opposed to whether or not he gave you a fourth down?
Yeah, absolutely. To answer your question, I don't fundamentally believe, unless you are a Matt Slater, Hall of Fame type of special teams player, I think the more you can do, the more value you can bring to our roster and our team, the more flexibility. That's the important thing for us.
Jerod, on the Baker thing where you mentioned he tossed the ball up in the air, how is your coaching philosophy sort of maybe evolving in terms of how to address it? Are you the type of coach you want to get right on that, or is it more in the film room?
Yeah, I think it's a combination. And you see me bouncing around all the time, pulling guys to the side. Those are just basic rules and fundamentals. It doesn't matter if you're on offense, defense, or special teams. Look, you get on those guys in the film room, you get on them out here, but also you have to show those guys. Like, remember, this is a young man still trying to figure out the NFL. And I think, for me, it's just about developing those guys, not only body and mind, but also just how to play an NFL game.
Does that grow with the relationship? But having, he's got that flair. Maybe it's a part of what makes him so good.
Yeah. You don't want to kill a guy, for showing some type of energy and some type of passion. I encourage those things. You make a big play, it's not just you; it's the rest of the team. But also, there's a way to finish the play, and that's what we really focus on in the classroom. Is, look, we can't do this. This is what we want, and I think it's important to get that across.
Drake's mechanics at this point. It seems like there's been a fair amount of the free quarter, which I know a lot of guys have sort of morphed into, but it seems at times that's maybe not necessary or been inaccurate.
Yeah, honestly, like, those off-schedule plays is when you really see it. Look, he can make all the throws, and he's an athletic guy. So working on those off-schedule plays outside the pocket where guys can really start moving around, that's when you'll see his arm strength and things like that. All right, thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Thank you. Take care.